How Christmas is destroying the environment. Christmas are times of indulgent overconsumptions with friends and family and an industry worth £42 billion to the UK economy. It may seem like the most wonderful time of the year, but our annual festivities have some shocking environmental consequences. Today, we'll be talking about how Christmas actually harms the environment. Tons of waste. Every Christmas, the amount of waste produced in the UK increases 30%, according to a study by waste management company Biffa. That includes an estimated 365,000 kilometres of non-recyclable wrapping paper, enough to wrap around the equator 9 times, and 1 billion cards that end up in the bin. Environment group Hubbub warned that an estimated 12 million Christmas sweaters were set to be snapped up this year by Britons, despite 65 million already hanging in UK wardrobes. The Christmas jumper is one of the worst examples of fast fashion, with 2 out of 5 jumpers only being worn once over the festive period, says Sarah Duval, project coordinator at the charity. Besides being added to huge levels of waste, the research by Hubbub also highlighted that most new sweaters contain plastic. Its analysis of 108 garments on sale this year from 11 retails found that 95% of the jumpers were made wholly or partly of plastic materials. Christmas trees. Real or fake, it's an evergreen dilemma. According to Carbon Trust, a real Christmas tree has a significantly lower carbon footprint than an artificial tree, especially if it is disposed of properly. The organisation calculated that a natural 2-metre tall Christmas tree that is disposed of into a landfill has a footprint of about 16 kilograms of CO2 thanks to methane emissions as it rots. A tree that is disposed of by burning, replanting or chipping, it has a footprint of around 3.5 kilograms of CO2. A 2-metre Christmas tree made from plastic, on the other hand, has a carbon footprint of around 40 kilograms of CO2 due to the energy-intensive production processes, while a real pine or fir tree naturally absorbs CO2 and releases oxygen before it's chopped down. This means that owners of an artificial tree need to use it for at least a decade in order for its environmental impact to equal that of responsibly disposed of natural trees. Gifts. Most of the toys children will be playing with under the Christmas tree are made in China. In 2017, the EU imported almost £7.4 billion of toys while exporting only about £1.4 billion. According to Eurostats, 86% of these toys came from China. However, some of these products can contain unsafe levels of banned chemicals. National officials have blocked 248 types of toys for sale in the EU this year, amounting to tens of millions of units after tests found illegal levels of toxic chemicals. Most of these problem items, 88%, were shipped from China, according to an assessment of data from the EU's RAPEX alert system, published by the European Environmental Bureau, EEB and NGO. 51% of the products contained phthalates, a plastic additive that's classified as an endocrine-disrupting chemical. Last year, the Swedish Chemicals Agency tested 106 products from non-EU online retails and found prohibited substances such as lead, phthalates and cadmium in 40 of them. In a similar study conducted in 2016, the agency found that 2% of the 44 surveyed sex toys imported to Sweden contained banned chemicals. EEB Chemical Policy Manager Tatiana Santos said that government officials are facing a flood of dangerously contaminated Chinese toys. When inspectors get the resources they need, they do a great job. But we wonder how many go undetected, she said. Turkey dinner. The biggest environmental impact of Christmas dinner comes from meat, according to Christian Reynolds, who researches the environmental impact of roast dinners at the University of Sheffield. The choice of meat, however, can account for as much as 70% of the environmental impact of an entire meal, with turkey having a lower carbon footprint than beef or lamb, and vegetarian options even lower than that. For example, a kilogram of beef or lamb protein can generate from 643 kilograms to 749 kilograms of carbon dioxide, resulting in more greenhouse gas emissions than a passenger flying from London to New York. A Manchester University study found that the average turkey Christmas dinner had a carbon footprint of 20 kilograms of CO2. Maybe it's time to go Polish. The main dish on Polish tables for Christmas Eve is carp, and a UN study finds that those mud-dwelling fish have a carbon footprint of less than 2 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram of flesh. There's also the issue of food waste. Approximately 2 million turkeys, 74 million mince pies, and 17.2 million Brussels sprouts are thrown away in the UK every Christmas, according to a study from Biffa. Flying home for Christmas. Over 250 million Europeans will be crisscrossing the continent over the holidays to visit family and friends, according to research by MasterCard. The average European will travel 516 kilometres, around the distance from Paris to Amsterdam, with nearly a quarter taking to the sky. Those kilometres will further add to Europe's greenhouse gas emissions and congestion. Aviation's carbon footprint has grown by 20% in Europe since 2005 and continues to increase at an average of 4% annually. It currently accounts for about 2.5% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. If it were a country, aviation would be the sixth largest carbon polluter in the world, eclipsing Germany.